Hello everyone, welcome to Athenaeum Session 21 vlog.
Penultimate vlog.
All the jazz happened.
All that jazz.
Yeah, all the jazz happened.
Jazz.
All that jazz.
All that jazz. Yes.
Now every time I hear the song and all that jazz, I'm gonna be thinking
about this.
about that.
Changes the meaning of that song.
Changes the meaning of the song.
Forever gonna be an inside joke for us now.
Yeah, every time we talk about jazz.
Nice, Micah. Great
So
job.
up there
You know
with
what?
Betsy
Way to be
Children, it had-
memorable.
Yes, there it is.
needed
Way to be
something
memorable.
to compete with that. Yeah.
You know what? It was on them. I was in the zone, and there it was. Oh my god!
You know what's on your mind.
Shh, cállate la boca.
Oh my gosh. What a jam-packed session.
Yes,
Yeah, that was actually a lot.
Yeah,
So much
Three
In a
fun.
worlds.
good way.
very good. I loved it. I loved every second.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, to go from Star's world back to Black Powder's world, and then into Frankie's world. Holy cow, like we hit so many points.
Yeah.
I will say I've never experienced a tabletop campaign that had such a complicated love triangle helix ever.
Yes.
How did we
I
get
didn't
there?
know where
How
that
did
was.
we get?
How
Yeah.
did that happen?
I love
I
it.
know I
though.
threw out the idea of, well, actually it was Thistle that brought it up for Tori's character when we were talking like on a call, and I was like, that's a great idea, and I brought it up to Hart and he was on board, but I did not expect it to go in so many different directions. So, but I love it.
Yes.
It's a mess.
Yeah, I don't think we've only touched on polyamorous representation once that I'm aware of, and that was in Mass Effect Season 2. So it's a subject matter that I find really fascinating. It's not for me personally, but I know a lot of polyamorous people, and I've talked about it, and I'm like, yeah, I love learning about this. This is really cool, like how there's a lot involved in it, and so yeah, I'm all for like more representation in that realm,
But very
I love how
how
we
Frankie-
stumbled into it though.
Yeah.
It was very organic. It didn't feel like
Mhm.
we were forcing anything. It really did happen very naturally.
Yeah,
crazy.
but
I
I,
mean,
am
it's-
curious how Frankie's gonna like take that and how Felix is
don't
gonna take that
know.
because we don't know yet.
And technically
know.
Victor, too.
And
And
Victor.
Victor.
Oh,
Victor too.
yeah.
And sous vide.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
'cause-
It's Felix.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Oh Lord.
No, this isn't a double helix anymore. It's just a straight up spider web.
It is a web. That's what I was saying.
A web of love.
Mhm.
Web of jazz.
What was
Web
jazz?
of- oh my God! Could you
Web of
imagine?
jazz.
Could you
Oh my
imagine
God.
my glob?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Y'all can make fun of me all day long for that because I deserve it for being so silly. So
Well,
silly.
you definitely need to tell Christina about it. You definitely.
Oh, I'm going to.
She would love it.
I'm telling my girlfriend about it. She's gonna get kicked out of this.
Oh my god,
This
yes.
is hilarious.
Oh my God. No, every time they look at me, they'll be like, this is a perv right here. I'm like, no, I'm really a nice person, I swear.
Just another Freudian slip.
Right.
It's all of us with our minds. It went right there.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Sad
rating
part.
went from PG to like
I
R.
just
very
saw
quickly.
M's face. She was like this the whole time, like, oh my god.
Caught me so
God.
off
I
guard.
just remember because like it was like, and I just like I can't even remember what you said, but like spread some whatever.
Just said
Listen,
it.
I took it in
Really?
stride. I took it in stride.
I like
I was
stopped
just
for a
like,
second,
oh
like,
yeah.
did
I
I
was
hear
like,
that?
I was like, and then I like double check, like, I don't think he meant to actually say that.
Oh, I did. Oh my God.
But it worked because I was like, oh, I can see that. And then I saw Emily like losing her mind. It's like, oh yeah, he did not meant to say this.
Wow.
I meant to say jazz, I swear. I promise. It was JAZZ, I swear. I don't know where that went.
I was like, wait, did Micah really just say this?
I thought it worked well. I was just like, oh, I'm sure Hark is gonna edit this.
Spencer Nug. Massive sister hug.
Done.
Now, definitely from the context clues, the viewers can tell what was actually said because it's definitely going to be bleeped out. So
Right? Oh
that's
my
kind of
god!
hilarious.
Oh my
That's
god,
amazing.
we're hilarious.
I swear I know English, but sometimes it comes out all messed up.
Oh man.
Now, on the back of subject of love, right? Like, I love the conversation that Victor had with Frankie.
Mhm.
I thought it was so good. It was so beautiful. It was very romantic, and it was so perfectly Frankie. So I was eating up every moment of it. So yes, thank you. And it was so freaking long overdue because out of all the characters, Frankie has not spoken to his significant other in quite some time. So yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think the angle hopefully was pretty obvious. The angle I was trying to take is that Victor did genuinely feel hurt by the suggestion that he needs to prove his love to Frankie because you have to understand the entire time Henry was telling him it's not real. Like, Frankie is a machine. You can't love a machine. It's manufactured. It's created. Just like the Dan the Man created the story. It's like, it's not real. And so, I think that was like an internal, I guess, doubt that Victor did go through while he was going through this relationship with Frankie, and I think he felt like he got past that finally and resolutely established, no, I know this is real, it is real for me. And so now, Frankie comes in and sort of reopens old wounds, and now it's coming from him, and so I'm like, Victor really feels hurt by that, and yeah, that was what I was trying to convey.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And as a player, I struggled with, how do I go about this? Do I go at the rosy goggles sort of way and just be like, oh, Frankie just comes back? No, Frankie has gone through shit. He is questioning a lot of stuff. And it doesn't mean that his feelings aren't valid. It just means he needs to have Victor kind of go through some of this stuff with him. It felt like he's outgrowing the relationship. In his mind, he feels like, am I outgrowing this relationship? Because we're not in this little pre-written role anymore where it seemed like, yeah, we had struggles, but again, it was like someone wrote that for us. Now I feel like we can write our story ourselves, and let's leave this place and see what will happen. It was a struggle for me how to go about doing it.
I love how with Frankie in particular, it feels less like he has to, Victor has to prove his love to him, and more like Frankie has to prove his own feelings to himself.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's so sweet and so Frankie.
Yeah. He's not trying to put pressure on Victor in any kind of way. It's more of like, can we just get out of here? You know what I mean? Like, can we just? I feel like all this is just a distraction. Yeah.
It's like when two kids are dating in high school and then they finally get out of high school and they're like, man, what is our relationship actually going to be like now that we don't have all these peers to judge us for our relationship?
Or a couple that decides to finally live in together.
Yes.
And let's try this out, right? And see if this can actually work if we live together or something. Like, it's that kind of milestone for him.
Or even when people are going through marriage therapy, I think relationship therapy, they say try to go take a vacation together, try just get out of the house, have somebody else watch the kids, just you, the two of you, and that might help figure things out. It may not necessarily repair your marriage, but it might at minimum give you more data, I guess, to work with, which I know is what Frankie's doing.
Yeah, and he took Victor's comment about oh, I don't have to question anything, but in Frank in his mind, it's like, well, you haven't seen what I've seen. You haven't had to question what I've had to question.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like that. It's like I was like that before too. I didn't have to question my love, but now I feel like I do have to question a little bit more of my reality than my love. You know what I mean? I'm questioning the world around us, not us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I totally 100% understood. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice scene.
It was really good.
And I did love Frankie's interaction with Henry. That was
Me too.
That was cute.
It was very quick, but
really quick,
it was...
but it was just the right amount of like
Mhm.
connection they needed to have. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it when your face shifted into Ethan's. I thought that was really well done.
Kind of going back to the web of romance, whatever that craziness is going to be.
Double helix.
The double helix. Because of Frankie having these memories of Ethan. Because we talked a little bit about Frankie's current situation being like kind of adjacent to like DID almost. Different ultras can have different relationships. It's like, that's actually interesting. I kind of that's cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's just a fun little coinkydink. It's like, that's fun.
I like that.
Well, since we were on the topic of, is this love between Victor and Frankie real? My curiosity is this attachment you're having with Henry. Is this attachment Frankie or is this attachment Ethan? Because I don't know if you necessarily maybe you did, but I don't know if the reason why this is manifesting itself is because of the fact that ritual happened to you and it sort of awakened Ethan from within you.
It's interesting.
How real is that?
Good question. Because I actually had an offline conversation with Emily about this to kind of be sure we didn't, from a story scene perspective, didn't step on each other's toes.
Yeah.
Right. And which is funny because now it's like coming for sucker girl. Initially, what I felt, at least for Frankie, what felt more real for Frankie was that these are real feelings. And I think that's the struggle, is that for him, the feelings for both Victor and what Ethan's memories have triggered is all real feelings. Their source is what's in question.
Mm-hmm.
But how he feels towards Henry, it's this more of platonic love. Because there are these layers of memories, and it doesn't feel as strong as how he feels for Victor. But now it may develop, it may grow, but right now, as it stands, it feels a little bit more platonic. But there's very much this appreciation and love that he has for Henry that is bleeding through, right? Ethan's feelings and memories are bleeding through where he's now. Again, Frankie has his history with Henry. So they've had their ups and downs. And remember, he grew to appreciate Henry at the end, doing what he did. And he almost sacrificed himself for the rest of the group. And so it's these things that are kind of bleeding. But I feel like he has a better understanding of those feelings a little bit more, because it's more detached. And he's like, yeah, you're a friend that I really love now. And it's the Victor situation that has him still like turning, like he's just, I need to get can we just get out of here? That's how he feels. Can we just get out of here and maybe we'll sort this out elsewhere?
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Also, Tori and Henry, that had me tearing up. That was way too cute. That was way too cute, because I was just like, she's like, there's something I want to do. And when you mentioned the dolls, I'm like, are they going to like kiss through? And when you did it, I was like, yes, I co-sign on this. I loved it so much. The dialogue was so sweet. And I like how, again, it blossomed in from a helix into a web of so many layers of, love. And it brings into the conversation of what is love for you? Like someone like me, monogamy is fine, but I have people who are, like you said, polyamory is perfectly normal and fine for them. But I like how Tori was like, have you ever felt like your love just isn't for one person? And I'm like, I even questioned that about myself when I was younger, and then growing up and understanding myself better. And I really related to Tori on that. So I was just like, yes, Tori, speak for the children, speak for us all, So
I think you handled that well, Emily.
Yes.
Thank
Tori,
you.
to approaching it in that way where, it's because I do have friends that have that are in polyamorous relationships, and I do question a lot because I'm more of a monogamous person myself. And so it's like, so what is it like? Well, it's like, it's no different, right? It's no different whether you're monogamous or you're a polyamorous relationship. the feelings are all the same, whether people get jealous or, you know, you love someone or you don't, or you get angry and you fight, blah, blah, blah. Like the most critical thing, what they told me is you have to have much better communications. You just have to have the most transparent communications you can possibly have so that no one is getting upset about anything. And even then it's never perfect. So it was nice to see Tori just being totally honest and transparent in that moment. Like, well,
a lot of monogamous relationships are not perfect.
No,
you know,
exactly.
So just being real here too, which means I'm sorry. Were you about to say something, Emily?
Oh no, just I was agreeing because I'm a monogamous person myself, and so it's a completely new area for me. But I felt like with Tori and Henry's relationship specifically, it was good that she talked to him about this first because they're both really they break down their walls with each other. So I thought that was the best person to bring it up to first, and I'm glad it developed the way it did.
Yeah, between Henry and Felix, I think Henry definitely is more willing to go against the grain a bit and just, you know, why are these rules here? Like, who decided? Blah blah blah. And I think Felix is not traditional, but between the two of them, I think Henry definitely would be the easier person to have the conversation with.
Right.
So what you're all saying is that Tori and Frankie needs to sit down with Sam and tell him, so yeah, you can have multiple people.
A girl in each world. Lovers in each world.
Yeah.
Listen, and in Frankie's world, you know, it's all about rebellion. It's all about rebelling against institutions and traditions and things that are telling you should be like this. And
exactly. That's one of the things I appreciate about Frankie's world is how it is like, you know, you push against the norm and you challenge it, but in a way that's tasteful, you know, and I like that. So I really appreciate that.
I was just going to say, Sam did say that he wasn't just going to be in the library. He was going to be very busy.
Right?
Very busy.
Right? Spreading that jazz.
Spreading the jazz. Everywhere he goes. Spreading the jazz.
And it's back.
It's back.
No, it's never going away.
I love it.
Oh, man.
I loved your song, Star.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had zero choreography prepared for that, so that was painful for me to even have to sit through and lip sync to. But it's okay though, because you know the magic of editing will take all that away.
It was very soothing. I love the music. It was nice.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, I'm glad y'all
it was
like
a perfect way to wrap up your world, I think. With music.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, how did you feel about where we left off in Star's world?
Oh, I felt it ended perfectly. You know, I really like, for one, that Star got the little chip and it wasn't damaged, because the thing was Star just wanted to share those memories with Stormy, but you know, since you guys were all there, like, look at our crazy relationship kind of thing. That was one thing for sure. And then also it was just good to have, you know, Taylor back again. Like, even though sadly she got knocked out of the fight, but it was just really cool to have her back, you know, and I'm just excited to see where that relationship goes. And then Sam and his imps, you know. I like it. I like how Star and Stormy reunited in a very, it was kind of comical, but it fit Star's theme. How, like, you know, they got together and they talked in the shower, and it went from there to, you know, everyone hearing all the noises, and it was fun and weird and wacky. So, you know, I support it, and I feel good about the story's ending. Yeah, I mean, and my biggest thing is that you were all having fun, because I just, like, even though it's Star's world, I feel like, but it's everybody's playground, so why not? You know, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
it does.
Yes,
yes, it did.
Them girls came in the clutch.
I love how the M's were playing Sam.
Yes.
They were just playing him.
Let him go off and be his heroic self. You know, we'll just wait back here until he needs help.
He's like he's sweating and glistening and all of.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
we're enjoying this. Figure. All right, we'll help you out now. We'll rust the door.
Right. And I really like what you did with the sound thing, Hark. That
Mm-hmm.
was very clever. And I absolutely loved it. Because when the moment you said dampening, I was like, oh, could we use this for something else? I wasn't immediately thinking Frankie's War, but I was thinking, oh, we can use this, but for what? So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, Joe, that was clutch to be like, oh, we gotta take this to Frankie's World.
Yeah, that was so smart.
I was hoping one of you would catch on to that because that was my intention a while ago. Yeah.
Park, I know how much you love Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
And the moment you
Hush.
said nobody could hear anything, I immediately thought of the episode Hush, and I was like, oh,
Yes.
that's so awesome. Park.
Yeah.
Oh man, love that.
I also loved that it sort of leveled the playing field for Black Powder too.
It did.
Nobody could hear a sound, and Black Powder is like, oh yeah, this is just a everyday for me now. So that was really cool. I thought to be able to do that.
And Shepard, I like all his like licking the candy, eating the food off the floor. I was like, yes.
Like-
It's like,
Always one step behind.
I know that like obviously in Tori's world it's Star and Frankie who are the Sunshine Twins.
Mhm.
But let's be honest, it's Frankie and Shepard who are the Himbo twins.
yes.
The Himbo brothers.
Love that.
I support this.
I love it so much. So good.
Oh, Frank.
They're the hungry gym rats.
Right,
The hungry
the
gym rats. Always eating.
There's
hungry
always a
gym
time to
rats.
snack.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. And,
How did it feel to go back to Black Powder's world? This one?
yes.
It was fast. Which I think was for the best, that it was quick. But it was very satisfying.
Yes.
Just even from session 0, it's been from the interview, it's been fun just knocking Redcap down. It's just really fun.
Mhm.
And it does let BP to show a little bit of that villainous side is still there. Like he can be brutal still. And this session altogether actually to me kind of we talked about the theme of Athenaeum being a lot about identity, but also about rebellion. Every single world, we have the rebels. We are the rebels of our world. We have the witchy girl. We have biggest weapon of the resistance. We have Sam, who just doesn't play by the rules for anyone.
No.
We have Star, who's just kind of tried to play by the rules, but now is like, fuck it.
Hiding behind the rules.
Hiding behind the rules.
Behind the
Mhm.
rules.
And I found that actually really weird that in the end, weirdly enough, Black Powder is the one who's probably the most into rules because he follows his pirate code.
Yes.
And you do not break that code. But it's a really weird mix and like another theme in the game that I was like, oh, that's cool. I really liked that.
That's cool.
And I like being able to talk to Gems more.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that scene. And I love how Jim was like, I'm not forgiving you, but I'll tolerate you because you're here, because I know you're here to help me. And I thought that was very interesting. I really like the relationship dynamic between you two. So I like it. And I like how Black Powder was I'm for everyone else. And it goes back to what you said. It honors his code and it shows how much he's grown from when we started to where he is now. And again, that was a clutch move with the cup. So yes.
Cup is a very powerful item.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, very powerful. Comedically powerful because they were like, oh yeah, he's the greatest captain in the world. We shouldn't question that. Oh.
I mean, we used that grenade quite a bit this session.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
The
three
bears with the top hats.
It was fun for me to use a grenade for once. That was fun for me, especially since the person throwing it had no idea what was going to happen.
He ended up getting chased off by bears. and
Chased
top
off by
hats.
bears.
In
Yes.
top hats.
Right.
This was the first session since like the first time we went to Tori's World where I thought someone was gonna die. I was so low on hit points, like
Oh,
so low that like one
If
turret
it was a
hit-
fireball,
If
yeah.
that was a fire, no. If the turrets had actually had a chance to shoot us, I would have died.
Mhm.
There's no way out of it. I can't dodge. So like, I was a little scared.
Yeah.
but I really liked how you used the sugar how you used
That was
you turned
smart.
into glass candy. I thought that was really cool. Personally, I really appreciate the sweet. I think it's so cool. And then Frankie like ripping off a chunk and eating it right before he does a punch. I'm like, yes.
That big
I
old
love
rock
how that's
candy
been
chunk.
Frankie's thing, and he's just been eating in every world.
That's all.
Like-
That's all he does.
I know, like, technically it was a flunder, but I love the confusion about what's the plan with the flux inductor.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was so confused.
It's
Let's
what our
give it to
characters
Tori.
would do too. They would be like, "What?"
Right.
Give it to the most reliable person in the party, Tori.
I was so confused.
Yes.
It worked out.
It
was
did.
fine. It worked out.
It was.
Yeah.
It's good you went to Sue's world earlier so that you could have gotten your Super Senshi powers, for the rest of the campaign. So that was a very good call.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really like the idea of the Super Senshi. Oh, just so everyone knows, I finished most of all of the Zords, and I'm working on the Megazord. So yes,
Amazing.
Oh my God,
Yes.
you're the best.
Speaking of Sue and Veed, they can taste now.
yes.
I know it was really short, but that's a huge deal. Being able to taste will probably help your cooking a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me
It's
so
come in
happy.
handy for the when Black Powder and Veed hand out the muffins.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure there should be an incredible difference between that now that they can taste. So
I like that Star and Tori got their chance to be mischievous and do their pranks.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
because I
good.
know we talked about that a couple sessions ago or last session for the
Yeah.
warm-up questions. So
Yeah.
here's our chance.
Yeah.
Quick little montage.
Right.
And to loop in Jim and
Yeah,
it's like
I like
he really
that.
had so much crap happen to him in his life. I'm like, let him be a kid just
Yeah.
for
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. That was very good.
Yeah. And hopefully Jim will go to a witch doctor who can help him with the vial of the Castaspella potion so his mom can get the help she needs. Because like I said, even though that may help, Star's still coming back. So Star is definitely coming back to Black Powder's world for that. And, spread more jazz, as they say. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. I'm really...
I do like the thought of Frankie and Victor exploring that world too.
yeah.
Yes.
For a couple of reasons.
yes.
I think one, because it is especially for them even more brutal in the acceptance maybe, but also there's so much possibility for them to kind of still be those rebellious people in that different element. So it's like the same story, different setting.
Yeah.
I thought about that. It was really interesting because I'd gotten the feeling that Black Powder was going to end up in Frankie's world. And I thought, "Ooh, how fitting would it be if the reverse happens? If Frankie and Victor end up in Black Powder's world in this kind of kismet type of a thing, like, oh yeah, we'll just trade places."
I definitely think it'll be challenging for Victor because he is a techie person.
Mhm.
Your world is sci-fi, and he's, being without internet might be very hard for him.
But
so we'll see.
I thought, how cool would it be to have someone like Victor in Black Powder's world? They would
True.
create like a
That's
steampunk
true.
thing.
Yeah, that's what
they
I
would
was thinking.
He would.
They would
Yeah.
transform it and invent new stuff, and now we have like
Steampunk.
airships or whatever.
He-
Like,
Go all professor from Gilligan's Island, making like coconut radios, things like that.
right.
Yeah.
And then when Black Powder comes back to, it's like, what have you done with my ship? It
Oh,
goes
it
in the
flies now.
air. You don't need roads.
I mean, if that's what actually ends up happening at the end, Black Powder would just give Frankie his old ship because even his old crew's not using it anymore. He stowed his old ship away somewhere. So, yeah, like I do find it interesting that we basically swapped because I didn't decide on Frankie's world until last session.
I didn't decide on it either. I was playing with the idea of like, if Frankie is feeling this way, where would he go? He would want to travel and go to all the different worlds, perhaps. But when you presented that, I was like, it's got to be BP's world. Then he's going to
Mhm.
BP's world. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to say for Sam giving Star the skateboard, Star's holding on to that for a specific moment. There is a reason Star was like, thank you. Like, and Star's holding on to it. So prepare, Sam. It's coming.
Mhm.
But again, I really appreciate how Sam gives everyone gifts from different for different reasons, and he has a purpose behind each one. So yes, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was really sweet giving Frankie the tie.
It's like so
Mhm.
cute.
That was so
I
cute.
loved that.
Yeah, in my inventory, I actually have 3 more bits of inventory. The pamphlet that I took from the crossover.
Mhm.
I've got a death chess piece and my spicy ball. So all 3 of those will have a little bit of something, I'm guessing, in the epilogue. Of course, I'm most likely going to use the Senshi ball in Frankie's world, but the chess piece and the pamphlet are going to be definitely a mention in the epilogue.
Death Horse will make a comeback.
Right? Right?
Death Horse is going to make a comeback for sure.
Oh, so happy.
Right?
Amazing.
Like, as much as we joke about this being a very jazzy episode and all that, there was just a lot of like romance stuff this episode. Like
Mhm.
obviously like Star and Stormy, which they're always just so wholesome and sweet. Like that's relationship goals. Like BP and Taylor had their stuff. Frankie and Victor working their stuff out. Tori and her reverse harem, I guess.
Yeah.
She's learning from Star. I'm just kidding.
She's learning from Sam.
Yeah.
It's Sam.
Right.
Sam in the M2,
Right.
Sam in the M2 or
Right.
something.
Oh my gosh.
Such a player.
Yeah, and it's unique with all these relationships because with Athenaeum, we didn't get to really like explore these relationships over the course of the campaign. It was like we kind of had it in the beginning, and then we went off to another world, and so there's a lot of time that passed and a lot of long distance, which is different because in other Heart campaigns that does develop over time. You see a lot of those romantic interests over and over. So I don't know, just a random thought.
No, but it's a good thought though. I really like it. One thing I'm kind of curious about, when it comes to the relationship with Frankie, Victor, I'm forgetting some of the names. Frankie, Victor, Henry, Felix, and that's another thing I was going to touch on. Felix, when he gets sober, what's going to happen when he interacts with Tori? I know that's going to be something role play, but like, did you ever think about that? Em, like what would happen when she reunites with him?
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna take that because she hasn't talked to Felix directly about her dying. So I think he's gonna react pretty badly. I'm predicting it's not gonna go well, especially after seeing Agatha's dead. So like seeing someone else he cares about dead, I don't think that's gonna go well.
Okay, we're on the
That's
same
a
page.
prediction.
Okay.
But I don't know what to do.
Hark, the idea of him feeling angry, but is this other entity.
Yes.
That
That
Agatha's-
is a huge question mark. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, I wish we would have brought some of the like traps and stuff from Tori's world.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. Because I tried to link it in my conversation with Victor about like, oh, ghosts are these like psychic echoes or emanations.
Yes.
So there is a connection to science.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been great if we had some of the neutron packs.
They can come in
Yeah.
handy.
I don't know. Maybe we can
Yeah.
create some new ones.
You can make a quick run.
Right? Can we
Yeah,
quick
I'll
run
just
to
pop
Tori's
in
world?
real
Well,
quick.
I thought-
Like, hey,
I thought
Carmen,
you were
can
back.
borrow this?
I thought you were recruiting an army from all the different other
Oh, that's
worlds.
Right.
right.
to
So I
help
can,
with the final
I can
battle,
text
so.
Carmen and like, hey, like,
Hey,
can we
you
bring the
bring
neutron pack?
neutron pack with us?
Oh,
Oh, and then the next thing, the weapons from Frankie's world. I'm excited to see that come to fruition. I'm curious, like the neutron packs, like like, could they get like an upgrade? Like, I'm just curious. So like, what are the limits? Like, what can we really do with the technology in Frankie's world?
I don't know. Frankie's world has a tech level that's, way beyond, even our own real world. So the imagination's the limit, to be honest. Come up with something cool and it will fit. My thing with some of the technology is, what do the bad guys have?
Yeah,
right?
good
Because
question.
they're the ones manipulating the kids' minds. They're the ones, they could be sending this anger vibe. They could be sending out a vibe to have people want to commit suicide or want to destroy each other. Remember, that's what happened. They kind of possessed Frankie and to attack each other, and they could be trying to do something on a grand scale.
I'm not going to lie. One of my first thoughts was, because they took Agatha's body.
Mm-hmm.
What if they reanimate her like Victor reanimated Frankie?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she's basically trapped and angry. And that's
Being-
what Felix, and that's kind of fueling Felix in his depression.
Yeah.
And like, what if it comes down to a point of maybe like
Facing
Yes.
Agatha.
yeah, like what if he has to basically kill his sister again?
It was Agatha all
All along.
Right, and that little smile.
Yeah, so what does the bad guys have, right? So
Mhm.
that's my concern from a technological, because the rebellion only has so much. They've got the physical weapons, they have their ability to fight, they've got some transports, and they can come up with gizmos and gadgets that can, again, amplify your voice. They can do things that may even help, strengthen all your abilities somehow. But the bad guys have the big weapons.
Yeah.
What do they have? I'm scared.
Right. Oh my goodness. I can't wait for the Avengers in-game battle. It's gonna be so epic. I cannot wait. It's gonna be so good.